I heard this is a follow-up. So I also heard in the last one that 25% creativity and 75% is running after businesses. So I think my dear panelists will try to put the human angle back into fashion, the fun of creativity, the fun of the joy of exploring new ideas. And before I start, just wanted to have a quick poll here. What is the expectation from this forum at the moment? Anybody's got any specific expectations so that we can try weaving that into the panel? Okay. Huh? Keeping everybody awake is what Nitin says, but anyway, we'll start. Okay. Okay. So first thing we wanted to start off with is what is creativity from a human angle? What's the difference between creativity and human creativity? And first we understand that, then we'll be able to create a space for that. So Shilpee, should we start with you? Your thoughts on this?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Saikat. First of all, there is only one creativity, which is a human creativity. There is no other creativity. Right? So whatever is getting created is coming out of human mind. That could be, there could be various tools of creating it, but in the nutshell, there is only one creativity, which is a human creativity. Beyond that, I don't believe in any machine creativity, whatever. It is just a human creativity is there.
So in a sense, you're saying the idea starts from human itself, so machines can be in the middle.
Yeah, machines are just the tools to get better efficiency, better accuracy, to make it faster, easier, and giving humans more time to think about creativity, and machines do all the odd jobs.
Okay. Gaurav, do you want to have a take on this? Also, I just wanted to talk about a lot of trends of, let's say, AI agents coming up, where they will be helping people in the creative process. So while the brief is from a human, how do you see that playing into?
Okay, so I think like the way Shilpee had put in, first thing is we'll have to accept that AI is here to stay. Second is, I think it is more of a enabler it's more of an enabler in our day-to-day activities. Right now, the way we are looking at it, I think AI is an integral part in the system already. We are at our end, and I'm sure most of us are already using it at every stage of the design process. So somewhere accepting that fact itself is a great deal, I think. It might take some time for a few people to accept it, but I think we're getting there. Benefits of AI, I think, obviously one is showing the possibilities that we had not imagined earlier. Second, I think to us it's helping in a great way in selling it internally, selling a new idea internally. Like earlier, I remember when we were there in the brand where we worked together, a lot of ideas used to die because we were not able to communicate them effectively. Now I think it's a great tool. Even connecting it emotionally through storytelling, I think it's a great tool. So I think it's definitely here to stay for us.
Thank you, Gaurav. I think the panel, including me and most of us, will think of AI almost being integral and a huge, massive tool which helps us in our design. I wanted to maybe look at the other side of it, and Partha, if you could shine on this. Any areas of challenge that you see with AI coming in and taking the human angle off the table?
No, actually. I have always been a firm believer of tech, usage of tech in any form, be it AI or generative or predictive or ML. So it had always, based on my experience over the past 5 years, it has always helped me. And there's no reason for me to believe that it'll be a disruptor or it'll be a blocker in my creative process or in my team's process. So it has always been an enabler and always helped. So firm believer of it. In addition, we have been using it all throughout across many stages of design process, and in each of the stage it has helped. So that's my firm belief.
So in terms of the usage, as more and more goes in, and as businesses sort of get into more the number, following the number, Do you see that as a challenge coming in for new ideas to come in at that point without data backing? Because if every decision is going to be driven by data or AI, let's say predictive AI, where do we leave space for new thought to come in?
I think for all creations, for a long period of time, I think insights had always been useful. It's just the nomenclature which has changed and the process which has changed, I think. Sure. How we have gathered the insight, that process has changed, that has become much more faster, easier. Otherwise, most of the innovation, barring a very few, had been built upon some insight. And that is what it is doing even now. So it's not forcing you to adopt what it's predicting. It's giving you throwing some insights. Of course, if the data is clean and the analysis is clear, it's throwing some insight, and it's basis that it might predict to you, okay, you do this, it will be useful. You might take that prediction, you might not. Why would that be a blocker for me? I don't understand. So I might take that if the prediction or the projection what it's throwing up is aligned to my thought process. I would adopt that happily.
Sure. Thank you. In fact, beyond the ideation, the creation part of it, one of the big things is, of course, the technical development and the innovation process that we have. And while there's a lot of interest, let's say, the India Size project and things coming up into those spaces to help the whole process, where do you see the human angle coming in? I remember we did talk about something yesterday, and that was a very, very interesting larger project around the human influence within the data-driven piece.
I think any new development has to have a human-centric approach. It's very, very important. While AI gives you information or curation of the information that is already existing, any new project, any new creation has to be validated through a human-centric approach. That means we actually co-create with the consumer, right? So any new product, any new idea, the prototypes, the sizes that are made, it's actually validated by real-time users. They wear it, they do a proper wearer trial, they give out feedback. All the feedback is then finally incorporated into the final design. And then it's a very well-informed, very calculated risk that we are taking on a new product. The inventory that we are building on will be based on a proper research and development using the user, final user, the end user who has already validated the product, and then we launch the product. So inventory is building on basis something that has already been run through a set of consumers, and then we are very, very sure. So human-centric approach, co-creating with consumer is still a very integral part of the entire design process, I feel.
Sure. Thank you. Nitin, again, I wanted to take I wanted to take this question also in terms of development and in terms of specifically with denim. There is computer vision coming in. There's a lot of influence which is actually going to go into sort of lasers and different parts. While that is development forward, where do you see the old sort of craft, that part of denim, fitting in?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you everybody for having me. I think for a company that's been around for 170 years, we see AI as an ally. And while developing product remains very human because of the element of authenticity, we cannot shy away from the fact that AI is going to be integral to the design process. But what we found is in the entire aspect of going from, say, concept to consumer, and fast fashion is part of the discussion today, AI can't predict human behavior. We can make things fast, we can make things accurately backwards of data, but whether the consumer decides that's important or not, or whether they continue to like it a week after it became a big trend, is difficult to predict. What AI is doing really well for designers as an assistant is to kind of help execute, become more efficient in the execution, give a sense of direction as far as how that product's going to look. But at the end of the day, it's people who will execute. For example, this jacket I'm wearing, it's part of our Blue Tab collection. It's made in Japan, made from raw fabric, made from fabric in Japan, constructed in Japan, but it's originally a 1942 World War II design that has been adapted. I think those are elements of human cultural contexts that AI will not be able to solve. And so whether we look at product development at the forefront, it'll only help us, AI will only help us get more efficient. I don't think it'll help us become more creative.
Thank you. I think we more or less do agree that humans being very central to the process. And while that is so, I think what has been happening is massive changes are happening at a very fast rate. And so all of us manage teams in terms of the creative leadership. You are looking at even upskilling teams very faster. And the other challenge also is methods, paradigms, platforms continuously keep changing. So in this context, how and what steps are you taking to sort of get teams up to speed on that so that they are able to maintain the sort of human angle also within the AI usage? And for this, in fact, each of you can give me even one tip, I think, so that will be good enough.
I'm doing nothing about it. I'm just considering AI as my slave. It would work at my whims and fancies at whatever time. The benefit I'm going to get out of AI is that my design team is going to have more of half days to enjoy, party, go to various areas where they meet the customers, they go for rock shows, they watch a lot of movies, and they enjoy life. That's what AI is going to help us.
Okay.
Actually, to be very frank, with what had been happening in the press and chairmen of the company are talking about 90 hours, that means the AI doesn't exist at all. Yeah.
I think with more developments, I think the requirements start increasing multifold, the pace starts increasing massively, and the change starts going. So I think there is some level of pressure which builds in, but I truly believe that the mundane work is taken away, and actually you are able to focus on the more human aspects of it, as a whole. But still, most teams not everybody is completely clear with that mindset of AI. So some people are coming in, and so how do we sort of upskill those guys completely is what I would love to know. And I think everybody would love to also see. Partho?
Yeah, so one of the important thing I have been telling my team, and also I'm trying to adopt to, is to upskill and get upgraded to the futuristic requirements of the design industry to be more relevant. Second, I try to inculcate zero fear of failure because of whatever advancement happening across. It's important that we all should be ready to fail as many as, probably not fail in the same thing again and again, but new things it's okay to fail. So that I try to tell my team and inculcate that culture in my team. So these are the two things I've been doing.
Very interesting, actually. You mentioned failing and failing forward. Like this used to happen, throughout ages, but nowadays we get data why we failed. Earlier it was slightly difficult because it was very gut and instinct driven, but now you clearly get sort of data on why things went wrong, and actually in a way it helps you to fail faster, fail forward.
Yeah, it's important to know why you failed, because that's how you'll correct yourself.
Sure.
In fact, we follow when there's a severe failure in our team or across teams, we go to the root cause analysis. We write a document which is called correction of error, COE, and we socialize that across teams so that others don't fail in the same thing again.
Sure.
That's a wonderful thing to follow, and we do that.
Cool. Gaurav, any thoughts on?
Just a small one. Yeah, since Partho has spoken about failures, the best part about the AI I like is when something doesn't sell, it's the AI which created it.
So we have somebody else to blame, right?
So we have the new scapegoat called AI.
Correct. So I'll tell you, see, the way we are seeing it right now, and that is something which we are doing day in, day out. I think somewhere the profile or the expectation from the designer itself is evolving now. From a product designer, which used to obviously interact with consumers at some stage, interact with different channels at some stage. Now I think that whole horizon seems to have changed. From that small horizon, I think the kind of data we have access to, the kind of ideation we are doing at each and every stage, the involvement of AI in marketing, the involvement of AI in social content that we do. I think overall the whole scope has gone much wider. The horizon itself has gone wider. So I think that's where we see AI helping us in a big time, and some way it's putting pressure on us also to be able to think beyond that, beyond the normal.
Cool. You mentioned communication, and in fact, that's something I want to come to. In fact, couple of conversations I have had with designers across the world, and I've realized a lot of AI is today being used for synthesis, generating ideas, but a lot of it is actually internal selling. Most of them are very wary of going ahead and going to customer with visuals and stuff, and there are multiple reasons for that. But that's something as designers we definitely have a strong view on. While product and development is there, we are always looking at communicating. And just wanted to know the panel's thought on using AI for front-end communication on the creative side, and maybe how do we be responsible around it, and how do we safeguard? What are the points that we need to take on that? Lakshmi, do you want to give this a shot?
So see, today we have the entire treasure of data with us, especially from the consumer point of view, right? And it is extremely important for brands to act responsibly here, especially coming from intimate wear segment where you know the data, the buying behavior, everything about the consumer, the past history, etc., right? It is extremely important that the data is always protected. There are policies that works around the data protection, and also ensure that the data is used in creating stuff which is correct. Right? For example, we build on the right inventory. We know that what is selling the best, and we use the data to build on the inventory that is right. Right? So the correct usage of data and the data protection are two important aspects to this safeguarding of data, I think.
AI in marketing, I think definitely it's only gonna get bigger. See, my whole thought is that when you look at it, maybe 5-10 years back, the way we used to do our communication, it used to be one big campaign, one season, and we are done. We are talking about some 8-10 shots, and we would spend crores on that and travel internationally and whatever. Now I think things have evolved. We need data every day. We need to engage with consumers every day, thanks to TikToks and Instagrams of the world. There are stories to be told every week, engaging stories. So I think AI definitely, I don't think the pace at which that whole requirement is increasing, it will be humanly impossible to create that content unless you have you're working with multiple agencies and spending a bomb on that. I think because of that, the cost-effective route will have to be AI that will have to be looked in.
I think it's to what Gaurav was saying, that AI is helping take the money much further than it did before.
Okay.
Secondly, I think that there are just so many consumer touch points today, whether that's your app, whether that's online, whether that's in store, in EBOs, in MBOs, etc. There are just multiple touch points, and in some cases you have consumer overlaps, in a lot of places you don't have overlaps, and being able to kind of cater to a different consumer segment and different store segmentation, you need communication to flow a certain way. And while traditional techniques of writing content around marketing still is important because humans understand cultural contexts, I think AI kind of helps refine it a lot better. The only worry is that it starts to sound very similar, and all brands, all campaigns will start sounding very similar if we just pass it through the AI filter. And therefore, we can't do away with the human intervention there, but definitely as first start, as designers, trying to sell an idea to our buyers, to the merchandising team, it's definitely become easier. And we are not just going to say, this is the next amazing idea. We have more words apart from amazing and exciting today.
Sure. No, thank you, Nitin. I think one of the things you mentioned was the using a similar filter and reaching the same space. And so here, Partha, I just wanted to add one more idea into this. So if you look at AI, a lot of the AI is trained on Western data and Western ideas of, let's say, beauty standards. And of course, the industry has had a history of being not inclusive or preferring a certain type of model, certain type of beauty standards. So does using this more and more perpetuate that part, or do we take care of it and we try to actually include inclusivity and different sizes, different types of people in this?
Okay, first of all, +1 to whatever has been said so far by Gaurav, Lakshmi, and Nitin. Second, this is one area I feel where the surface has just been scratched. It's much nascent compared to other domains where AI is adding value. Hence, I think the modeling, the LLM, the training of the input which is being provided to generate insight through AI has to be much more refined. To your question, yes, I think the input has to be much more stronger, more brand relevant. It has to follow the values of the company. It has to, the output, final output which comes out as a messaging to the customers has to be much more refined. Otherwise, it will be generic. Today, it is quite generic. It doesn't follow the values of the company, the brand ethos, the brand guardrails, what it should ideally be communicating, how customers relate to that particular brand. So nothing is being followed as of now, according to me. Much more refining has to be done in this domain.
Just adding on Partha's point, I think that what AI does is creates homogeneity. It's looking at a certain data, like LLM, certain inputs, and creates homogeneity in the product. Whereas if you look at our regional context, we're a very heterogeneous society, a country. For example, Navratri in Gujarat overlaps Pujo in Calcutta. And if we were to pass the same filter of AI to develop product, it will not take cultural context in mind when it helps design or even gives output, right? Because the sensibility of the consumer during Navratri in Gujarat is entirely different from the consumer in Cal and in the West as far as Pujo is concerned. So therefore, I think we are still a little distance away from where understanding the homogeneity, the regional contexts, the cultural context of India will become integral to AI. The other thing that we have to also remember is that we have a very rich culture and heritage, right? Largely passed on from generation to generation. Whether that's the Banarsi sari or whether that's Lucknowi chicken curry, it's basically one generation into another generation. And I think that AI will not be able to kind of solve for that. But I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I think currently, yes, because it is not trained on such data. But I'm sure when the Indian sort of piece also comes up, it'll be helping all of us. It'll actually be a differentiator tool and a massive space for us to work in. So that's an interesting one. Actually, while both of you were discussing, I just realized a lot of this is, a lot of the AI piece which is going in is actually into product which is pretty transactional. And then the communication part, currently there's of course work happening, but I think contextualizing it is something which is where humans are still required. And that itself sort of renders that slightly less useful for us at the moment. But I see huge developments happening within that space. Finally, I think the last question that I would love to talk about is, everybody talks about it, so what about sustainability here? What are your views on sustainability versus, usage of AI versus humans within this part?
What I can say is sustainability is the most important part, because we have to leave this planet to our future generations in a good shape so that at least they can survive and breathe in good air. And AI also help, apart from AI, data, people who are, pujaris of data, they would be sensible enough to, make short quantities, short runs, and get good sales without doing excessive dumping. So that is where I feel data is giving the confidence to produce less and maybe, be profitable. So earlier, when the data was not so strong, we had our gut feel. Now it is supported by some kind of calculation and algorithms and whatever to reach on to sustainable quantity so that we do not overproduce and kill the planet. So that is what I feel. It is less of the AI, but more of data, I would say.
I didn't get, you asking if I'm a believer of sustainability
So there are pros and cons within the sustainable side on the use of AI. While AI itself, every time it is using, it's actually mining. So there is use of power anyway within the process. But of course, we look at what benefits it gives us, and if it outweighs that, then we sort of use that as a play.
It does outweigh. What it consumes versus what it provides, there's a stark difference. I think I can go anecdotal. We took input for a particular range of ethnic wear through our internal and some outsourced system. We got thorough insights, and we created a range in a short span of time during Great Indian Festival. It had some 80% sell-through. It's still doing well. We did replen, still continuing. So net inventory turns were much faster. Wastage was much less. So the outputs are much outweighs the input in terms of consumption of power or whatever you say. So
I always used to think, the utopia is to make for one and sell for one, as in. And while that is not possible, I think a lot of this singularity is possible because of the way we can structure ourselves.
that's ideal, of course.
Yeah. Gaurav, Lakshmi, any points on this?
I think it saves a lot of time and energy and resources also when you are already when you already get a cue from the AI that see, this is what is the pattern, right? This is what the pattern, the trends are behaving. The social media, you may get information from various resources. So it already helps in validating your concept, right? So you are not wasting your time, energy, resources on developing or sampling process of several other concepts. You focus on the one that you are really confident about. So it saves you a lot of time, energy, and resources, because the whole sampling process itself is a very intensive process that consumes a lot of money, resources, and energy of everyone, right? So it helps in a lot of time-saving activity for everyone, I think.
I completely aligned on whatever the team said. I think one area where we can maybe focus more on is the input that we give to the machine. I think it will put pressure on us to give the right input so that the machine is able to analyze it better and give us a more productive, a more relevant output.
So Gaurav, basically, this panel seems completely aligned that human is at the center of creativity versus AI. So, but I would like to close this conversation with asking each of you to actually give me 2 points. One is what you're looking out for, and what you think we should all watch out for. So, pro and a con within the AI space or within creativity in the AI age. So, do you want to start, Nitin?
I think for me the watch out is originality. I think that's something will be difficult to decipher, especially when you don't know the source of that data, right? So one is originality and accuracy. That's something that we will always have to watch out for. What I'm looking forward to is spending more time in the market, understanding the market better, because some of the mundane things that we are otherwise looking at Excel sheets, as designers, we hate looking at Excel sheets. We'll probably let AI give us the overall summary, and then we can actually do the work that counts.
I'm looking forward to enhance the speed of decision making. I would be a bit concerned about retention of authenticity, pretty much close to originality.
I would like to offload that 75% of the work which Karunesh said designers don't do creatively to the AI, and rest 25% we do and enjoy life.
Okay, what I'm looking forward to, I think definitely looking forward to some amazing, engaging content getting created, mainly on the marketing side, obviously through the design process as well. What I'm afraid of, I think our capability to upgrade ourselves every day with so much of content coming in, so much of new AI machines coming in, I think that is something that's going to be a tough challenge for us.
I look out to the speed that it brings in. The entire design to delivery to market process is much faster now, and we see the response much faster. What I'm worried about is that it challenges the creativity, it challenges the acceptance to the fresh ideas, because in the age of fast fashion, the time that is needed for an original idea to come in picture is actually eating up that space.
Thank you. A couple of points from my side too. So I remember reading somewhere that the designer's job is still there till people learn to write the perfect brief. And so I think, I would just like to sort of end this space in a way that unless and until you are actually able to pinpoint exactly what you want, the designer and the creativity contextualizes the need. And that itself is why I think most of us are here. In fact, it's a unanimous decision that the human is at the center of creativity, even in the AI space. I would also like to call AI augmented intelligence, assisted intelligence. It is almost like one member of my team. And so there is a lot of contextualizing which actually will go on to get that to work as per us. And at the end of the day, actually every business is an H2H business. So somebody is paying and somebody is giving. No machine is paying in the middle. So, and no machine is getting paid in the middle. So till that happens, I still believe that humans remain at the center of this piece. And so just want to also leave one anecdote, and this is to do with, in London, the London cab drivers, they were earlier, to pass the exam, they had to know each and every road. Sorry? Yeah, they had to know each and every street to even pass those exams. And then what happens is Google Map comes in, Uber comes in, massive amount of competition. So everybody was like, these are gone. And so it's an interesting anecdote. Somebody mentioned that when he was going with one of the black cab guys, he asked, AI, this map and all, has it not spoiled your business? And the guy said, no, actually what it does is earlier I used to have to remember everything. Now I focus on customer service. I actually do more chatting with him. I talk with him much more. So from my point of view, I think getting good brief, getting good requirements will actually go up, and we will be much more sharper. And of course, speed and stuff is there. But I think the human angle will be much more important, because the interpretation is still going to be from the human side. And that's what will make things different. And with that, I would like to open the panel to questions from the...
Number one, in the time, that's to each of you, in the time of plenty, so much information, so much data, how as a creative person does each one of you stay focused enough to filter out all the excess data that is there in your lives? It's like you are on your social media, there's tons of stuff happening. How do you focus on that one thing or the two things that is important, because you can't do everything? How do you each find time or ways to focus on filtering out all the excess noise?
To stay focused on your target customer segment, Nari. Yeah. So the most important part is that we are focused on our customers. We are focused on the international trends which are coming in through our research, which was a conventional research. To understand our customer, we are spending more time with the customer. So we are not getting carried away. It is not like I'm a Aladdin and I've got a chirag and now I can do whatever I want. It's not like that. It's a pure business. We consider it as a business. It is our duty to make our customers smile with each and every creation of ours. So we are not getting carried away. That is my take on, and my team's take on it.
That's what Jeff used to say, customer obsession. But today, everybody is obsessed with AI. You will not find anybody not doing stuff without it. Most of the stuff that is done with AI. In that, how do you filter out the stuff? I know it's an obsession for every one of you that customer is king. That's an adage. But there is so much more to do today than you would ever do before.
Thank you, Nari. I think we'll keep that as the last question in the interest of time, and otherwise Anu's going to throw me off the stage here. Okay. Partha, answer.
Yeah, so just another anecdote from Charlie Munger. So he used to say that if you want to be smart, just try not to be stupid. So avoid the crap, avoid as much of data or information as you can, which is not relevant. That helps for me.
Thank you, panelists. Hope I have not been harsh. Hope we are still friends. And for any questions that we have, we can take them outside and with water and coffee. Okay, thank you, guys.